So, Jenny, thanks very much for making a little bit of time to chat. If we go right back to when we first met, where were you in your journey when we first came together and you were thinking about coaching as a possible option?
I was quite established in my career field and in my role. I had been in that role for a number of years. I was doing quite well, but I definitely felt like there was more that I could do and there was more that I could achieve. And with the support of my management team, I got some advice to perhaps look at coaching to support me on that next step in my career journey.
Mm,
And that was really initially what led me to look to find somebody like you. And yeah, I did some internet research and I found your site and I really connected with the things that you spoke to and you specialized in. I particularly was after a male coach. I felt like a male coach would suit the part of the journey that I wanted to focus on.
I know I'm very similar. All my coaches are women, and there's
Mm.
something about having that sort of male-female energy in a coaching relationship that really makes some good things happen. When you think about when we got together, what did you know what changes you wanted to make, or is it just that I know I need to make a change?
I knew that I needed to make a change. Perhaps I was just too close to my situation to know what the
Mm,
changes I needed to make would look like. I think I needed the space that a coaching session gives you from your
mm,
day-to-day life to actually really focus in on that because I think in our sessions, I perhaps had the similar insight, but I didn't have the space, time, or energy to ever sit and
mm,
think like that in my own time and dedicate that time. So when I spent time with you, it was actually just a really focused session on
mm,
what does that next step look like to you? Well, how do I want it to look?
mm,
How can I maybe break that down into smaller steps and actually put that into an actionable plan? And I could report back and say, well, I took this step, this went well, this didn't go well. We could
mm,
refine the approach together. And I just felt like I had support in my corner that was perhaps independent to my organization,
mm,
which gave a really impartial view of the world
mm.
that ultimately, led me to success at the end of our journey.
It's that clarity of distance outside of everything else that's going on that a coaching conversation affords us. What changes did come about?
Let's give everybody context, right? I had worked in the same department, in the same organization for 12 and a half years before I worked with you. And whilst I'd gone through promotions during that time, I definitely felt I was maybe there wasn't really a next step for me in that field. And working with you gave me the confidence to apply for different roles within the organization, something I had never done in the 12 and a half years, hadn't even entered my mind.
Mm,
Um, and I think it was probably within 6 months of working with you, I had successfully applied for a different role in the organization, a big step up, a large promotion that went with that into a new field that I wasn't 100% confident in. But nevertheless, we spoke about that in our sessions and how we would approach that. And, I've been really happy in that new role ever since. But I guess is what I would like to call out that while we were going through our coaching sessions, I was also going through the actual applying of the roles. So we
mm,
spent time talking about how does my profile look? How do I want to be perceived at interview? So I just felt like I had a full package of support. I didn't sign up to the coaching program thinking I want a new job. I want to change, function, division, specialism. And nevertheless, all those things came out of the program
mm,
during the program, and I had you there for support,
mm.
at every step of that process, which was immeasurable.
Thank you. And it's one of my favorite things about coaching. It's emergent and it works with what's there. you never really know where we're going to end up. And that's one of the things I guess is a little bit of a challenge when people are thinking about working with a coach, especially if they've not worked with a coach before. It's like, I don't know exactly where this is going to end up. What would be your advice or input for someone who's maybe thinking about coaching?
I would say have the chemistry call. Put yourself out there to connect with the coach and see if you have a fit and can land on a commonality of what opportunities you think that you might have ahead of you. My best advice would be to just have that initial connection
Mm.
call and see if that connection happens, which for you and I it did, which was great.
Who would you say my style of coaching is perfect for?
I'd say a wide number of people, right? At the start of every session, you would ask me, what's the level of challenge that I feel like I want to have today? So I'd say that that can fit a number of people. But I think, the position that I was in, I'd been in a role for a long time. I was very comfortable, I was very competent, but I just had a feeling that there could be more. I hoped for more, and I didn't quite know what more was. And it was through the coaching that I was able to unwrap more and find it and achieve it.
Mm. Well, Jenny, it's been great chatting with you. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I loved our work together. And again, really appreciate you coming on.
Likewise, as I said to you before, I don't think anybody should gatekeep, a fantastic resource. And for me, you were a fantastic resource. And I really hope that you can connect with other people and, share the skills and tools that you were able to share with me.